The soirée ends, and guests begin taking their leave after thanking Anna Pavlovna. Pierre's awkward departure is highlighted. Stout, broad, with huge red hands, he is ungainly and absent-minded. He does not know how to enter or leave a drawing room gracefully or say something agreeable before departing. When rising to go, he absent-mindedly picks up the general's three-cornered hat instead of his own and pulls at the plume until the general asks for it back. However, his kindly, simple, and modest expression redeems these faults. Anna Pavlovna turns to him with Christian mildness, forgiving his earlier indiscretion, and hopes to see him again, but also hopes he will change his opinions. Pierre bows without replying, but his smile conveys, "Opinions are opinions, but you see what a capital, good-natured fellow I am." Everyone, including Anna Pavlovna, feels this. Cf. 3687 Gutenberg. In the hall, Prince Andrew has his cloak put on by a footman while indifferently listening to his wife's chatter with Prince Hippolyte. Hippolyte stands close to the pretty, pregnant princess and stares fixedly at her through his eyeglass. The little princess tells Anna Pavlovna she's glad she did not go to the ambassador. It would have been dull, and calls the evening delightful. Anna Pavlovna had already spoken to her about the proposed match between Anatole Kuragin and Princess Mary Bolkonskaya, Liza's sister-in-law. The princess relies on Anna Pavlovna and asks her to write and report how the father views the matter. Hippolyte approaches the princess, bends close, and whispers something. Two footmen wait with a shawl and cloak. Hippolyte snatches the shawl and wraps it around her, keeping his arm around her for a long time, awkwardly or intentionally. She smiles gracefully, moves away, and glances at her husband. Prince Andrew's eyes are closed, he looks weary and sleepy. "Are you ready?" he asks his wife, looking past her. Hippolyte, in a fashionable cloak reaching to his heels, stumbles after them into the porch. The princess enters the dark carriage, her husband adjusts his saber. Hippolyte blocks the way under the pretense of helping. Prince Andrew coldly tells him in Russian, "Allow me, sir." Then in a gentle, affectionate voice, he tells Pierre, who has reached the house first, "I am expecting you," laughs spasmodically while waiting for the Vicomte, whom he promised to take home. In the carriage, the Vicomte calls the little princess very nice and quite French, kissing his fingertips. Hippolyte bursts out laughing. The Vicomte calls Hippolyte a terrible chap despite his innocent airs and pities the poor husband, the little officer who gives himself airs of a monarch. Hippolyte replies that one has to know how to deal with Russian ladies. At Prince Andrew's house, Pierre arrives first and, feeling at home, goes into Andrew's study, lies down on the sofa, takes the first book that comes to hand, Caesar's Commentaries, and begins reading. In the middle, Andrew enters, rubbing his small white hands, and says, "What have you done to Emile, Shara? She will be quite ill now." Pierre turns, smiles eagerly, and waves his hand. He finds the abbé interesting but says he does not see things in the right light. In his opinion, perpetual peace is possible, but not by a balance of political power. Andrew is not interested in such abstract talk. He asks if Pierre has finally decided on anything. Will he be a guardsman or a diplomatist? His father expects it. Pierre sits up and says he doesn't yet know, he doesn't like either. Andrew reminds him he must decide. Pierre recalls his background, sent abroad at 10 with an abbé tutor, returned at 20. His father dismissed the tutor, gave him money and a letter to Prince Vasily, and told him to choose a profession in Petersburg. Pierre has been choosing for 3 months without deciding. Pierre mentions the abbé must be a Freemason. Andrew calls it nonsense and shifts to practical matters. Has Pierre been to the Horse Guards? Pierre says no, but explains his thoughts. There is a war against Napoleon. If it were for freedom, he could understand and would be the first to enlist. But helping England and Austria against the greatest man in the world is not right. Andrew shrugs at Pierre's childish words. He says if no one fought except on his own conviction, there would be no wars. Pierre thinks that would be splendid. Andrew smiles ironically and says it is very likely splendid but will never come about. Pierre asks why Andrew is going to the war. Andrew pauses and replies that the life he is leading here does not suit him. This chapter shifts from the public salon to more intimate moments, deepening the friendship between Pierre and Prince Andrew while contrasting their personalities. Pierre's idealistic, earnest confusion about life and career versus Andrew's weary disillusionment and sense of duty. It also shows the superficial flirtations and social maneuvers, Hippolyte with lies, continuing into the departure.